Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. The Fighting Irish in this week's playoff committee rankings, number 4. If the season ended today, they would be in the national championship playoffs. I know you guys are fired up about that. The team still has to focus, get its work done. 3 games left to go, but it's a very nice place to be. Another run towards a potential spot in the playoff, really the second time in 3 years. That's very impressive. By the way, Visk, proud sponsor of the Coaches Headsets, is giving away some really cool prizes here tonight. And I'm sorry, all the folks on the internet always beg me, why can't I win? Because the prizes are meant for all of you who take the time to come out here and visit with us each week. We're going to give away 2 tickets to Saturday's Senior Day game against Wake Forest, and we're also going to give away some gear. Visk, defending the Notre Dame football play calls and defending your personal information with their privacy charging phone case. Learn more at Visk.com. Saturday is Senior Day, so it's going to be the final home game for numerous seniors who will be honored before the game. We hope you do. If you come out, you salute them. It's a very interesting senior class. When you think about it, it is the first class that Coach Kelly and his staff were involved in their recruitment right from the beginning. Really, this senior class has been part of the foundation. It has been the foundation on which the resurgence of Notre Dame football has been built. So I do think that they deserve everybody's support. And that applause, for those of you listening on the radio, is for the head coach of the Fighting Irish, Brian Kelly. Coach, thank you very much. Always a very busy day for you. Every day is busy for you, but Thursdays in particular. You tell your team to avoid the noise, but I was actually interviewing Josh Adams on Tuesday night, and there was a giant roar from the locker room. So they're watching TV. They saw that they were put number 4, and you got to focus on this weekend, but isn't it good to be back in the conversation again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been since 2012, so it's 3 years. So to get our football team back in there is, what we play for every year. So the mission is to get back to the playoffs and be part of those teams. We still have some work to do, obviously. We've got to win our games, and then it's still not in our hands, but being in the position that we are right now, we feel like if we win our football games and take care of business week to week, we'll be part of it.
It is Senior Day, and as I was mentioning as you were coming in, this is really the first class here at Notre Dame that you and your staff were involved in recruiting right from the beginning.
Right, yeah.
What are your thoughts on this class that has really done so much to help turn this program around?
Well, I think more than anything else, consistency. If we take care of business on Saturday with a win over a 5-year period, this is a 25-5 football team at home. And to win 25 out of 30 games over a 5-year period of time, it's pretty impressive. So I think more than anything else is that they've built that consistency that you need to have week in and week out, and that goes to this group of seniors. And 21-3 over the past 4 years, I think, speaks to the kind of level of play that these guys have put out on the field week in and week out.
You've coached at a number of different colleges around the country, so you have things to compare this to. Is Senior Day different or bigger at Notre Dame? I've been here for so long now, I have nothing to compare it to, but I know it's an awfully big deal.
No, I think a lot is made of it, and rightly so. I mean, there's so much tradition, and there's been so many great players that have gone through that tunnel that, look, I think what is most impressive is that, these guys are going to be playing in their last game in such an iconic venue that it's not just about the players. It's the fans. They don't want to say goodbye for the year either. It's the last game in this stadium for the year. And so, I mean, it's everything combined. It's the seniors' last game. It's the last game of the season. And there's so much anticipation for this football team. And sometimes it's hard to let go of that because it's been such a great season.
You know, when we were talking earlier this week on Tuesday, I mentioned I really didn't think that DeShone Kizer was getting all of the attention that he deserved for what he had done. And then Michael Wilbon comes out on ESPN last night and said he thinks he's the best player in the country.
Well, I didn't see that, but you know, DeShone is doing some great things right now as a quarterback. Smart, savvy, poised, confidence. I mean, you could use probably, you know, 5 or 6 different ways to describe his quarterback play, and you wouldn't necessarily use skill as the 4th or 5th thing. Now, you have to have great skill to play the quarterback position, but I could say coachability. I could say confidence. I could say poise, smart, great character before I even got to the skill of position. And the nice part about it, he's a freshman. And so to have all of those tangible traits or intangibles, however you want to phrase it, speaks highly of the young man that we have.
I mean, what continues to amaze me is not just his productivity. He's a heck of an athlete. But he's only started 7 games. He doesn't make many mistakes, and I don't think he's made the same one twice.
No, and the great part about him is that he remembers things that many people forget. I mean, he has such a great recall of what you're asking him to do that it doesn't require you to have to go over and over and over and over the same things again and again and again. So it's just such a great, I think, just his ability to garner so much information and grasp onto it, like he's been playing for 4 or 5 years. And like you said, he's had 7 starts. So pretty impressive young man.
You know, NCAA rules preclude us from ever talking about recruiting on this show, but some would say you picked up a recruit last night when Will Fuller announced that he was going to come back for his senior year. But I was very impressed tonight. You meet with the media before you come over here, and you were asked about that. And a lot of coaches would go, hey, that's great. I don't need to talk to him now. He's coming back.
Yeah.
You're still going to sit down with Will and have the meeting and go over all of the numbers in terms of where he's projected and whatnot, because you want to make sure that he has all the information and that he makes the best possible decision for himself.
Yeah, we still have to go through the process with Will. We look at his academics. We look at, you know, what hours he needs to graduate. We look at, you know, what his projections are. We do an early evaluation by the NFL people. We want to provide all that information for him. I certainly would love to see him come back. I think there's a lot for him to accomplish. I think, you know, physically, I think from, you know, a standpoint relative to on-field production, there's a lot there. And, of course, you know, getting his degree. But we want to sit down and go through the process. I know that there's, you know, many people believe that he could be, you know, a high draft pick. And we'll get all that information for him, and we'll put it in front of him and go through the process with him. And we'll do that when the season's over.
And really, people shouldn't be that surprised when Notre Dame players decide to come back. Sheldon Day is another example.
Right.
Because when you decide to come to Notre Dame, one of the big reasons is to get that degree.
Right.
And, I mean, people sometimes have joked with me, well, you know, you could go to law school, you could go back to school. The prospect of going back to school at this point in my life scares the stuffing out of me. So it is hard to leave and then come back. Jerome Bettis continues to struggle with this. He's pledged to his son he'll come back, but it's hard. So it makes a lot of sense in many different ways to get it done now.
Yeah, and so, you know, a lot of times it's about how many hours are left and whether you can come back to campus to get them done or you have to, you know, do it somewhere else. And so there's a lot of different things that we have to get accomplished for these guys. And look, for us, a lot of the guys have decided to come back. You know, it started, you know, with, you know, Tyler Eifert, you know, Michael Floyd, you know, Manti Te'o, you know, obviously Sheldon Day, you know, of course, Ronnie Stanley, all these guys coming back has been really the prevailing theme relative to Notre Dame. And, you know, there's been some of the exceptions out there, but those guys had their degrees too. So largely the guys are working towards trying to get the degree first. And if they're really, really close, you know, they're in pretty good shape. but they can be a high draft pick and be set up for the rest of their life. We're going to look at both sides.
I know I joked with you during the TV show on Sunday that this next man in thing's getting ridiculous.
Oh, yes, it is.
From this perspective, you had a lot of it last year where guys came in and played well.
Yeah.
This year, you have guys coming in over and over at key skill positions and putting up incredible numbers.
Well, I mean, I think you just, start with the quarterback, but don't finish there. The running back position, has been key for us. Tight end now, we've had to, use 3 different tight ends. I could go on, but again, look at Josh Adams in terms of what he contributed, 147 yards, against a very, very stingy Pitt defense, and very impressive young man in Josh Adams, another true freshman.
147 yards against Pitt. The folks here and watching online are seeing some of the highlights that he had against Pittsburgh, and then when we talked to him after the game, you gave him the game ball.
Yeah.
He sat there and said, well, I didn't think I was going to get the game ball. Look what Kaiser did. I mean, look
Yeah.
what Fuller did. He goes,
5, 6
I just
touchdowns.
thought I was doing my job.
Yeah, he's a very humble young man, and that's what we love about him the most, in that, he just comes to work every day, practices hard, does all the little things the right way, and comes from a great family, and just love the young man and the way he does the things that you ask him to do.
We have lots of things to do here on the rest of the show, lots of audience questions, and of course, Kavari Russell and Cole Luke will be joining us, but we have to take some time out and pay some bills. So here's our first break, the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Live from O'Rourke's Public House, and as you can see online and here, our guests are here, Cole Luke and Kavari Russell, Notre Dame starting cornerbacks. Gentlemen, thanks for taking some time out to visit with us tonight.
Of course,
for sure.
Thanks for having us.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Talk a little bit about how close the two of you guys are playing that same position.
It's strange. Like, I think, and actually elaborate a little bit more. You talking about close as in like relationship?
Relationship, yeah. Not on the field. Because we don't want you real close a lot because you play on opposite sides of the field.
Yeah.
If you're next to each other, that's not working out well.
Because we're different classes, I think we're not as close as we probably would be, like I said, like as we came in together, like I said, he's 2013 class, I was 2012. But I think like I said, me missing last year as well, kind of I think played a part in not being as close as we probably should be. But I think we're very close, like I said, with even though that I did miss that year last year, and this is our first year together, starting together. I think we actually did develop a pretty decent relationship, and like I said, I consider him one of my closest friends on this team. So I think we've grown pretty close to each other.
And really, you've been in a situation where you have been able to help him. And you and I talked a lot last week.
Yeah.
What people forget is you had such a great reputation. You had played so well.
Yeah.
You had the academic misstep. You missed the year. This is your first year in this offensive system.
Yeah.
Everybody else is in the second year. So in a sense, he might have been the teacher of you the first year, or one of them, and now you kind of have been a teacher for him.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I would say so. One of the interesting things is, I mean, he's picked up the defense so well. He was gone for a year, yeah, but I mean, I think he had a little bit of time before he left to actually, get used to the system and whatnot. But, when he came back, it seemed like he wasn't gone at all. He didn't miss a step. So, I like to see how well he came back after that year he was gone. So.
I mean, yeah, just to touch on that, yeah, he definitely did help me out a lot. Like I said, Cole Luke's one of the smartest players on our defense, and I think he did a great job. Like I said, whenever I had a question as far as, I said, how to handle a certain route, how to handle a certain a scheme against like different offenses, I think Cole Luke did a great job with that, with helping me out.
How hard was it to get back into the rhythm of playing at this level? Of course, it's now gone viral when you talk with Coach Kelly in the Showtime show. It's about, I really haven't been working as hard. And it wasn't that you weren't saying that you were coming up and not going through the motion, but it's hard to get to that next level. And you realized you were playing hard, but you had to play harder.
Exactly. And I think because, when you miss an entire year, and then I came back to the hardest position arguably in football. Like, cornerback, like I said, you could do so many things well, and then you do one thing wrong, and that's what's displayed all over ESPN, right? So I think that was the toughest thing for me. I think just understanding, like, this is a position that each and every day, each and every play, you have to work on your craft. And I think, like I said, I worked my butt off each and every day like I always do, but there'd be some plays maybe if the ball wasn't coming my way or if the ball was going the opposite way, you might take that play off for granted. You can't do that at corner because you're going to develop bad habits. And I think throughout the first half of the season, I probably did that on certain plays. Like, okay, it's not coming my way. I can take it easy. But now, I said after the bye week, I realized, okay, you have to go hard each and every play as if the ball's thrown your way each and every play. So I think that's what I started doing. And I said it paid dividends for me in the last few weeks.
Playing corner, especially in this defense, where you're playing press man-to-man by yourself a lot with all the pressure, you're going to get burned occasionally. So, Cole, talk to me about when they say you have to have a short memory.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like you said, our defense is one where we're always going to be attacking the offense no matter what, no matter who it is. And, me and Key, we're definitely used to being left on the island. Coach Van Gordo tells us, just have a good day. You're on your own. So, you have to have a short memory because, you're going to get beat deep. That's it. We try to limit those mistakes that we make and whatnot, but it's going to happen. And I think a good corner who has a short memory can, make a lot of plays on the field. So.
Well, and I know that's been a focus to eliminate the big plays because that was probably the one flaw with this defense that has put up good numbers. You were giving up a lot of big plays. That's been slowed down against USC. And then last week, Tyler Boyd, very good athlete, but he had one big play late that I know was a breakdown, but you limited him, and the two of you did most of that.
Exactly. It's literally about discipline and doing our own job. And that's what we've been focused on this week, the word focus. We just got to focus on doing our own job. And I think, like I said, at times this year we haven't been doing our own job. We tried to do too much. We tried to make the big play on our own instead of just trusting the other 10 guys on our team. So I think that's where, once we do that, I think we've done a great job of that this week. I think we could be a great defense, just really focusing on doing our own job.
Both these guys have 2 interceptions this year. You've broken up 4 passes. You have a quarterback here. You've broken up 3 passes, recovered a fumble. You're second on the team in tackles right now with 52, 43 unassisted. So you've been in that last line of defense.
Yeah.
You've been getting there a lot. You've got 27 tackles. I know that 20 years from now, one of the games you will be talking about is USC because for a Notre Dame guy, that game gets bigger and bigger. But do you think to this point, interception, then the deflection to Max, who I know owes you now because you got the interception. Is that your marquee game, do you think, at this point?
USC for sure. Like I said, me personally, I'm 3-0 against USC as a starter. I said I wasn't in that attack last year we lost, so I
all right, be good, Cole, because you can come back here, but don't go there.
He can come back. I already know he got a few things he can say against me, but we have fun with that. But for me, like I said, I tend to always play well against USC just because, like I said, I know how big that rivalry is, and like I said, for some reason, and they always have great group of receivers. Like I said, I played against Marquise Lee, Robert Woods, and then now Juju Smith, one of the best in the country. So it's one of those things you have to step up your game. And I said whether that's extra film or like just preparing harder throughout practice. I think like for me mentally, it gets me right.
Aren't you a USC fan?
Say it again.
Weren't you a USC fan when you were a kid?
I used that too. I used to be a USC fan before I.
But we've expunged that. We've purified you since then.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry.
When you take a look at where this team is right now, and I know it's avoid the noise, but that doesn't mean that you put your heads in a bag and don't pay attention. As a matter of fact, I was trying to interview Josh Adams on Tuesday night in one of the meeting rooms when there was an explosion from the locker room when they announced the top 4. What does it mean to you right now? I know you got to focus on the next game, but that you are back there in the conversation and in many ways control your own destiny.
I mean, it's definitely a good feeling, like you said. We were pretty happy when they announced the top 4 on Tuesday, but it's just one of those things that we can't let it, distract us from what our main goal is this season, and that's just to be relevant. Right now we are, so we want to keep that going. And, it's definitely easy, at this time of the year, the end of November, for teams to kind of fall off, but we want to keep going in that peak direction. So.
Now, you're known to be a talker.
A little bit.
Is this something you bring up on the field?
A little bit. Just a little bit. Just not as much as I used to, but just a little bit. Just a little bit.
What's it like trying to stop Will Fuller in practice?
He's a great receiver. Like I said, arguably the best, probably playing the best football at the receiver position right now. And like I said, it's a great matchup for me and like I said, Cole Luke as well, just because you're playing against the best. So when you go into each game, you can mentally tell yourself like that you're not gonna get much better. So you can play with extreme confidence because, like I said, Monday through Friday, you're playing against, like I said earlier, arguably the best player in the country, and he brings his all. Like I said, he doesn't let up no matter what it is, 1-on-1, 7-on-7, a tempo period where we're supposed to go 80%. He's gonna go 100 against us. So I think it's one of those things that he mentally gets you ready.
Were you guys surprised when he went ahead and told the press last night he was coming back?
No, I mean,
like it's one of those things. I don't know just because it's his decision, right? Like it's one of those things. He's done well in the school classroom and off the field, so it's not really a surprise. It's something. It's really his decision.
I know every single kid on the team has come here to get their degree. Mm-hmm. So, but that being the fact, I'm not surprised that we'll announce he's going to come back. So.
You guys are both in Mendoza.
Yeah.
I mean, right now you're majoring in information technologies management, which means computers, which scares me to death.
That's why I didn't do it either. Don't worry.
And you're in management consulting, and again, talk about a guy who came back. You obviously had every reason not to, and you wanted that degree as well and get back on your team. So for this group, that is one of the main reasons that you come here is to get that degree. So it's got to be harder to leave here than a lot of places.
Yes, sir. I believe so. Like I said, I think that's what it is because I said you don't just come to Notre Dame just to play football. You play at a high level. I mean, for football, obviously, but you're coming to one of the best schools academically and one of the most challenging schools academically. So you want to use it for what it's worth. Like I said, one of the best schools in the country. You don't want to just leave early and like I said, you could possibly come back and get your degree, but for some people they don't come back. So it's good to. I mean, you want to come back, knock that out the way, and then after that, 4 years. 4 years you graduated, and then you can go to the NFL. So that's the main reason why I came back. I could have easily left last year or transferred, but I came too far not to get a Notre Dame degree. So I think it's just we know how meaningful and how impactful a Notre Dame degree is.
Oh, and I don't know if you guys talked to Jerome Bettis. Great guy.
Yeah.
Pretty good student, and he's promised his son he's going to come back. I mean, he's had
Exactly.
so much success. He's got so much going on. It's hard to come back,
Yeah.
to go back to school. So I also like how smart you guys are with social media. Now, is Kavari R6 really you? Is that your new account?
No, it's just K Russ 6.
Well, it says at Kavari. It says you've tweeted twice since October 17th.
I don't
Is
even
that
have
you?
Twitter. No.
Okay, so somebody has set that up, and they're claiming that they're
No,
you.
I got.
So you're not
Instagram.
even on there.
No, I don't got Twitter.
All right, so you're not, and
No
you've
Twitter.
tweeted. You haven't tweeted since June 30th.
Yeah, I kind of let that go.
But see, I think that makes sense because especially for guys like you,
Yeah.
Twitter and social media. I mean, I'm supposed to engage with people, and I even now tweet stuff back to some people who have irritated me, and then I just hit delete because you can just get in all kinds of trouble.
You can because it's as much as you say ignore the haters, ignore the noise. There's just certain comments that really make you want to respond. Like there's a few that really make you want to respond as a competitor, but just as a person in general. Because there's certain things that just how can someone say such ill words about you, and you want even if especially if it's not true, you want to say something. But like I said, the image we have, especially coming to Notre Dame, like that we're bigger than that. There's no need for us to respond to those because, like I said, we're in a position to set us up, to set ourselves and our families up. So our image is bigger than just ourselves.
I think that's super smart. And you guys are going to do a great job on the 60-second drill coming up right after this timeout on the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Now, I've lost the question for the players in here somewhere, but I remember it. One of the fans here wanted to know, how do you know when to turn around and look for the ball when you're covering a receiver?
A lot of times you really don't, to be honest. There's some signs like the receiver's eyes will get big or something, but there's some guys, I mean, they look last minute just like we do, and the ball could be there and get there before we turn our head. Because there's times this year where you turn our head and you don't even see the ball caught, and also you turn around and you got the ball in his hand running, like, whoa, what the heck? So it's tough. But I think it's just once you get in good position, you can turn around.
Same. I mean, you can tell by his facial expression. His eyes will get big. Obviously, he played through his hands. His hands will come up in the air. So it's definitely hard. That's the hardest part about our position. Like Keith said, you'll look for the ball, turn back, he has the ball, and it's definitely difficult.
Now, every now and then you're going to get flagged.
Yeah.
And actually, college football, sometimes it's a good play because it's only 15 yards.
Yeah.
But I know you both, yes, especially you, will chat with the official about what do you tell them? How do those conversations, do they explain to you what they call? Do they go, son, get away? What do they do?
They actually do try to explain. I mean, there's some of them, but with me, I always tell them before the game, let us play. Like I seen Patrick Peterson do it. He's in the NFL. I seen Patrick Peterson tell the ref to let.
And how is that?
So I start doing that too.
Does it work? You think sometimes?
I told him to let us play against Clemson, and then they called a PI on me later in the game. So I don't think it worked that game, but it usually does.
All right, here's the 60-second drill. You can alternate. You can come up with one answer, whatever you want. Favorite all-time movie? I'll start with you.
Dark Knight.
I love 300.
Okay. I've watched that like 5 times too.
Yeah.
Player on the team most like you?
Ooh, probably Elijah Shoemate like me.
Okay, how about you, Paul?
Nick Watkins.
All right. If you have any time to watch TV, favorite TV show?
Man, Fresh Prince is nice. George Lopez. I used to
Right now, probably Entourage.
All right. Most famous person you've met?
Ooh. I met Jamal Crawford.
Wow.
I met a lot of NFL guys. Champ Bailey. Met Champ Bailey.
Patrick Peterson.
Met him too.
Roy Williams.
All right. Place anywhere in the world you would like to visit?
I want to live in London for like 2 years.
Same.
Really?
I
Same.
actually do. I want to live in London for 2 years for like
London.
after NFL.
We have some folks here from London. They've submitted a question. We're going to get to that in our next
Nice.
segment. If you were a professor, what class would you teach?
I'm big on theater. I love acting. Like I said, like
I
Nick
knew
said,
that.
so I'll probably teach theater.
Jeez. I'd probably teach a business course like stats, just because it's super hard, and I'd love to see the students struggle like I did. So,
Best nickname on the team and who has it?
do we have any nicknames?
Nicknames. I don't know. I'm not sure who got
As much as you talk, you know, nicknames? All right. well,
Coach Van Gorder has nicknames that he gives us.
yeah. What's yours? Can you say?
I don't. Do I have one?
No, you really.
I'd say chicken. He calls Max Chicken Hawk for some
Max
reason.
Chicken Hawk?
I don't know what it
He
is.
calls Max Chicken Hawk.
To this day, I don't.
It's like I forgot what cartoon it's from, but it's the little chicken dude.
Yeah.
I forgot what cartoon it's from.
What's your favorite place to hang out on campus?
Me? I'm probably La Fortune. I like La Fortune. La Fortune's very relaxing. Basement of La Fortune.
I recently found this place in Mendoza that has like a bunch of beanbag chairs. So that's my new nap spot.
Where's that at?
It's like hidden, bro.
Where's that at?
I don't know. Like it's like Narnia. Bro.
Never heard of that.
One thing you always hear from Coach Kelly at practice.
What are you doing? It's his go-to.
That's just everything's go-to. I was thinking about something else, but go ahead. You got it. That's
Right.
a good one.
How about Coach Light? What's the thing you hear from Coach Light all the time?
That's another one that came through my head.
There's so many. How do you want to look on Saturday, Cole?
He always says that one a lot.
Can't catch it with one hand, but then he'll say,
This is what he said. So he said, like he has two things he always says. Like so he says receivers can't catch the ball with one hand. So he always says like if you could take one hand away, do that. But then when we drop a ball one-handed, he's like, if you could touch it, you can catch it. So I'm like, what do you want us to do? Can we catch it one-handed, or can we catch it one-handed, or can we? I mean, if we touch it, we can catch it. So it's hilarious. Like every time a receiver tries to go with one hand, they drop it. He's like, I told you they can't catch it with one hand. Then we go up with one hand. He's like, if you could touch it, you can catch it. What's going on? I'm like, they play receiver. They can't catch it one-handed. We play DB. It's gonna be tough for us too. Like
He's saying that you guys are better athletes than the
that's
receivers.
basically what he's saying.
It's true,
just
though.
funny, like the
It's true.
contradiction he had. Like it's hilarious.
Funniest thing that's happened in practice this year, beyond that.
I got
film room,
which one?
Ashton White.
Bro, don't.
Go ahead, say it.
You got it.
You gotta go.
You
ahead.
brought it up. You
Go
got
ahead.
it.
Let me hear yours first. I'll say it.
Cole, go.
All right, so we were in the film room one day, and it's a had to be there moment. But I think Ashton White did something that he wasn't supposed to do on the field, like he made a wrong call or whatever. And then Coach Van Gorder was chewing him out. You know how it is. And then Ashton stopped him. He's like, Coach. I'm going to let you finish, but Coach Light told me that. And he just ratted him out.
Like,
So it
cause
was
it just
hilarious.
as a
So
player,
he hung Coach Light out
yeah,
to dry.
as a player, even if another coach did tell you something, you take
That's
it.
something you do, yeah.
You
It's
just
just
take
like-
it, like okay, whatever. But it was just hilarious, like I said, just to see it. Like all of us were sitting
Okay.
back laughing. 'Cause he was like, I understand, Coach, but Coach Light told us. I was like, oh my God! So that was a funny moment for all of us. We all just busted out laughing. It
That's
was
a great
hilarious.
story. Toughest player to tackle on the team.
Oh man, the tackle.
CJ.
CJ, yeah, CJ's tough because
All
probably
running
yeah,
backs,
CJ he
yeah.
brings a balance of power and speed. It's tough.
Hardest hitter on the team.
I like Shoemate. Like I like to say Shoe.
She's
Shoe.
like she's the best open field tackler we have. He's powerful. He's definitely
I
one of the
think
hardest
I'd like to
hitters.
say Shoe. I'd probably say Shoe.
Surprisingly, you know who brings it is Nico Fertitta.
Nico does too, actually.
Nico
does.
is a hard hitter.
But consistently, like on a daily basis, I like
Shoe.
Shoe or Jalen for our
Yeah.
defense. Shoe or Jay.
Shoot,
Best singer on the team.
Probably Corey Robinson.
Corey, yeah.
It's like Cole likes to say himself, but I think Corey.
It's definitely me.
It's-
Just kidding. Because
Go
I don't want
ahead,
you.
bust-
I don't want you to
bust
ask me to
something out
sing.
for us.
No,
Bust
I
something
can't
out
do
for
it.
us.
All right, you came here. I won't put you in that position.
Good.
Worst singer on the team.
Man, Micah do. Micah Trail. No,
Sheldon.
Sheldon.
I'm gonna put my boy on blast. Sheldon.
All right. Best dancer on the team.
Tory Hunter.
Torrey.
easy.
Easy.
Worst dancer on the team.
Oh man, who don't know how to dance?
Jerron. Jerron?
Nah, I mean he actually does okay. Who doesn't? Oh man, there's a few days I want. Let me see.
I don't know.
That's a tough one.
All right, guy that thinks he's a good dancer who really isn't.
My man Breezy.
Oh,
I hope he's watching.
Breezy not bad, but he thinks he's a lot better than what he is. So, shout out to you, Breezy, if you're hearing this, man.
best comedian on the team.
Comedian, man.
Gerard's funny.
Gerard's hilarious.
He's not a comedian though. He's just like, I'm gonna make fun of you and it's gonna be really mean, but to other people it's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay.
Best comedian on the coaching staff.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's you. I don't know.
That's a good one. That's good.
Denson.
Who makes you laugh?
Because there's.
I like
Go ahead,
Coach
go ahead.
Denbrock is hilarious.
Okay.
I don't know about you.
Denbrock is funny though, actually.
But he's like the quiet funny.
But
Like
like I said, when Coach Kelly chooses an offensive player out, I laugh a lot. So I don't, I don't know if like with this comedian word exactly.
All right. He makes you laugh. It is. Very good. It's a different
So-
question, but that's a good answer. Best dresser on the team.
Matthias.
Farley, yeah.
All right. Worst dresser on the team.
Oh God.
Amir Carlisle.
But he's from California though.
Amir
so
Carlisle. That's my answer.
I guess.
California guy's the worst dresser?
You gotta
Don't
see
say
it.
it's the
You
West
gotta
Coast.
see
It's
it.
not the
No,
West
when the
Coast.
receivers were here, they said the same thing.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Tell you it's weird.
Player on the team most likely to become a football coach.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, I can just see him screaming at people.
Yeah.
He's telling me no. I've asked Joe this.
Joe
He's
said
telling me-
he-
he's telling me.
But
not
from
right
our
away.
point of view,
Yeah, he's gonna be coach.
It's Joe.
Yeah. And finally, best thing about playing for Notre Dame.
I think you're playing for something bigger than yourself. Of course, you're playing for the teams who won national championship 1988, 77, all the previous teams. So when you put the Notre Dame jersey on, you're like, you're playing at the highest stage for one. You're always on TV, but then as I said, you're playing. It's like I said, the fact that you got there at Notre Dame, people like can see you on TV and know like it's something special about you as a player. So I think that's like for me, like when I said I could suit up anywhere. Like out of high school, you could have getting scholarships everywhere. But I knew when I put on a Notre Dame jersey, people can look at me and like, there's something special about this kid because, like I said, he earned his way to Notre Dame. So I think it's that feeling and that connection you have with Notre Dame and what the history has brought to it.
Wow. I gotta make you follow that. I know that's hard.
I mean,
so
that's definitely hard, but
you could say ditto.
I'm just kidding. Nah, it's definitely the community and the family that comes with it. I know I've been home plenty of times. I'll just be walking around like in the airport or something. I'll hear like a random "Go Irish," which is a good feeling because you know that this family is literally everywhere. And back when I had Twitter, people would tweet me from like Australia saying like "Go Irish" and stuff like that. So it's just crazy. And like Keith said, it's just a predominant university, and it's just a great feeling to know that you're going to a university where it's just highly looked at, and a lot of people, value and actually look at how, well your education is, one, and two, that you play for a great university, which is awesome. So.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, your starting cornerbacks, Cole Luke and Kavari Russell. Gentlemen, outstanding job. Thank you.
So much. I appreciate you. Man.
We're back with more on the Brian Kelly Radio Show right after this. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, presented by our good friends at TireRack.com. When you enjoyed that, I know. When you sit out there at times, and look, you love your job. It's a great job, but it's hard. But that has to reinforce, you know what, I'm at the right place.
Well, we've had, I think, close to 30 guests this year. And I just sit there and go, who's got the best job in the country? Because I get a chance to coach these guys, and they represent Notre Dame in such a great way. Each and every week. And none of it's scripted. I mean, the questions
and
come.
you're not cherry picking. You're picking position groups.
No, I pick the guys that play for us, and we bring them in, and they answer questions. I don't know. Look, I'm, of course, biased, but I'd like to see one other program, basketball, football, hockey, anywhere in the country that can put 30 of their guys up, and each and every week they can talk about their experiences at Notre Dame. They can answer the questions honestly, truthfully, articulate their thoughts, and communicate effectively. I'm proud of all those guys.
Lots of questions from the folks here, so let's get to them. Jonathan Smith's here from Atlanta. How have you developed your receiving core into such outstanding blockers?
Well, they can't get on the field unless they're complete players. And so I'll tell you what, the one thing that I was so impressed with, Will Fuller obviously had a monster day against Pitt, but there were two blocks that he made in that game that set up his fellow receivers, and one of our tight ends couldn't make the same block. So you would not have wanted to be that tight end who couldn't make that same block.
in the meeting I had with him. But he's the kind of guy that will go out there and understands that, look, I'm going to get my catches, but I'm going to help my guys get an opportunity as well. And they understand that that's the way that they can get on the field. That's how they get on the field, is blocking.
You know, and I've always thought football is the ultimate team game. Other than maybe the quarterback position, there really is no other position that can win a game by itself.
No, I think that they impact the game today, especially the offenses that are out there. You know, the wide receiver position can break it open for you, and we certainly saw that last weekend.
Allie Sullivan's here from Norwich. I'm assuming that she's a student because she says, thanks for a great 4 years, Coach. I'm going to toss you a marshmallow during halftime so you don't go hungry.
No, I'm good. Good. Toss it to one of your fellow seniors. That would be just fine with me.
And keep them off the turf because they really do get stuck in the turf.
Yeah.
That's kind of an issue.
That would be great. It's a great tradition, but
keep them in the stands.
Keep them in the stands. That would be good with me. Lisa
Morrison from Granger wonders how Jarrett Grace is doing. Hasn't been on the show this year. He was on the Jack Swarbrick show this week.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. He really is. I love Jarrett Grace and everything he's done. He's been a very, very important part of all of our running teams and special teams, and you know, he's ready to go. If we need him, he'll be ready to go and compete for us. He did a nice job for us in the option teams that we played.
All right, where are Kevin and Joe McManus? Folks, they're on their honeymoon from London, England, and they've decided to come to Notre Dame.
Nice. Congratulations.
With the success of the Navy game in Dublin, will you be coming to Ireland or the UK soon? We certainly hope so.
Well, we couldn't speak highly enough about how we were treated.
What a great trip.
It was just an awesome trip. Everything went so well, and you know, if we could pull it off every couple of years, we would do it. It's something that it will always be at the front of the conversations, and we'll continue to work on trying to get back there.
Well, I had more free time than you did on that trip. That was the best business trip I've ever taken. I'm not going to tell you why, although the bartender behind the bar at the Guinness Distillery's name was Jack Nolan. So I had a pretty good time that night, I'll tell you that. Suddenly the really good stuff started coming out from behind the bar. Richard Hoffman, Fenton, Missouri. Are you expecting to rotate more players to keep everyone fresh for the last 3 games?
Well, we need to play, you know, as many guys as we can. Certainly, you know, the depth is one that has been tested this year relative to injury. The unfortunate part about it is that when you have to replace so many guys like we have this year, we've already really, you know, gotten into the depth of this football team. So, you know, rotation then becomes one where you're really putting players in that maybe they're not quite ready to play at the highest level. So we have to understand where we are position-wise. There are certain positions that we'll continue to move guys in and out, and then there are others we're going to have to stay with the guys we have and ride them through the season.
Brian Archambault is here from Osceola, and he's been trying to get this question in. So
all right, Brian, let's go.
Have you considered more player rotation at the various linebacker positions in our base defense? So in other words, how do you decide playing time at the linebacker positions?
It's strictly based upon who the best guys are, and you know, our best guys are on the field. Those guys that grade out consistently at the position are the guys that are playing for us. And so the starters that are out there are clearly the better players. We're there, you know, about 88 to 90 hours during the week. We see all the film. We see the guys that get the limited reps in terms of what they're doing, and you'll just have to trust that we're putting the right guys on the field.
Right, it's the total package, and I'll go right ahead and be blunt here. You know, people talking about Joe Schmidt.
Yeah.
You watch him all the time in the games. I do all the things he brings to the table. He's the best guy.
Yeah, Joe's 15-2 as a starter. How's that?
And when he hasn't started, you have a losing record.
When he hasn't started, we have a losing record. So we like Joe in the lineup.
What is the latest on C.J. Prosise? And if okay, will he play on Saturday? Larry Pizzilli from South Bend.
Yeah, C.J. went through football activities today and, you know, had a good day, and we'll see where he is tomorrow.
Coach, this is Kathy from Granger. Players used to be able to buy insurance if they stayed in school. Can they still do this, and do you encourage them to do so?
Not really. I don't think it's a great value for them.
the loss of value insurance has not paid off very well. We've had a couple of test cases, and lost value relative to an injury means if you were projected maybe to go in the first round and an injury now would put you into the third or fourth round, it's hard to prove that the lost value has a true net differential that can be proved in a court of law. And we've seen a couple of cases that has not held up. So it's available to players, but we're seeing less and less people pick up the insurance piece of that.
Folks, tonight's Brian Kelly Radio Show is brought to you by TireRack.com. And when we're talking running, passing, and kicking, the experts at Tire Rack have cornering, traction, and performance of a different kind on their minds. That's why you'll be able to find exactly the tires you need when you need them. TireRack.com. Find, deliver, and install. More audience questions presented by the experts at TireRack.com right after this timeout. The Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. We are back on the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, presented by TireRack.com. Kevin's here from Granger. Coach, late in the season, do you cut down on full contact practices?
Yeah, I mean, we're very careful in terms of what we do. We try to keep speed in the practice, but, we cut out what our what we call thud, which is banging the backs, and try to eliminate a lot of that. We're at that point right now where we take the shoulder pads off now on Thursdays, where earlier in the season shoulder pads are on. So there is definitely modifications in the way we practice later in the season.
Richard McHugh listens every week, watches every week from Salisbury Mills, New York. Coach, do you wish you had more time to prepare? Does time ever run out?
Yeah, it seems like for me in particular, if we had about 10 more hours on a Monday. Monday is one of those days where you just don't seem like you have enough time, to get everything in before you get out on the field on Tuesday. So it feels like a newspaper deadline, that, Jack,
yeah.
Where you got to get the story in.
It's got to be on time, or a live shot. You got to be there at 6.
You got to be there. Monday feels like that. Tuesday, it then becomes the players are there at a certain time, and you're in the routine, and it is what it is. But Monday's that one day where you wish you had a little bit more time.
Carol Barber comes just about every week. She's from South Bend. Coach, will we see much of Winbush on Saturday?
I hope not. I love him. He's a great quarterback. I say that only if we have to see him early, it means we're not doing things the right way or we have an injury. Now, if things go the right way, I'd love to see him. So it just depends on how you mean that question to come out.
Mike's here from Granger. You have coached at other colleges. How has Notre Dame changed your approach to coaching, if at all?
Well, on the field, no changes. I mean, the kids on the field are no different. Off the field, there's a big difference. You have to be so much more conscious of their day, the time management. It is a rigorous schedule for them, and so there are a lot of different things that we have to do to accommodate the student athlete here at Notre Dame than anywhere that I would say anywhere in the country probably. But on the field, they're just like anybody else. They want to win and they want to be coached, and they're like everybody else.
Andy Hill is watching us in London, Ontario tonight. Coach, what offensive tree of systems does your passing game derive out of, such as West Coach, air raid, run and shoot, etc.?
It is the coast-to-coast offense. I've stolen great ideas from the East Coast to the West Coast.
No one's ever been more honest than answering that question, and that's what every coach does. You just perfect them and tweak them.
Yeah, essentially the offensive system is one that, I went out, in the early couple of years of my coaching career, and I had learned a system when I was at Grand Valley State, and it was more of a two-back system, and I kind of went and designed the system myself and stole a lot of good ideas and then tweaked them and put it into one that I felt like would work best for the system that we have today.
And Tim from Norwich, Connecticut submitted a question. Do you have any plans for a two-back backfield here with CJ and Josh Adams?
Well, like I mentioned, I don't know if people are paying attention, but we're running our tight end in an off position, and he really takes the place of a fullback. He's pulling a lot. If you guys watch, he's really acting as a fullback. And so today that really becomes that second back more so than the fullback. I think where you see the fullback today is in short yardage, goal line situations. But most offenses, even in the NFL, they're really constructed with what is called a hybrid tight end, which can play as a tight end and in the backfield, and that's what we're doing. And we're in that set quite a bit. And so I would characterize that today as more of the two-back offense.
We'll be back to wrap things up right after this final timeout on the Brian Kelly Radio Show live from O'Rourke's Public House. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show. Before we wrap things up, just a couple of stats for you, because I think people don't realize Notre Dame's got the 19th ranked rushing attack in the entire country at 220 yards per game. So they are running the ball pretty well this year. And overall, the 19th ranked total offensive attack at a little under 500 yards per game. So I find it kind of funny because we always get the fullback question, and they're thinking of guys like Mark Edwards and Jerome Bettis, and that's, I hate to admit,
now
if I had
Mark Edwards, I'd run a fullback, right?
Or Jerome Bettis, you'd definitely run a fullback.
Yeah. Those are the kind of guys you want on the field no matter what you run.
All right, let's talk about this Wake Forest team.
Yep.
They have a very solid defense. And again, people lose sight of this. Winning at this level is hard. You have to play well to beat Wake Forest.
Yeah, first of all, Dave Clawson, an outstanding football coach, has built programs similar to my background in the sense that he started at the lower level, has worked his way up, has had great success in the MAC, so I have a great deal of respect for what he's done. It's a well-coached football team. Offensively, they're a young team. They're going to be a good football team. They can cause you some problems. They had the football in their hands with a chance to tie Florida State. Lost 3-0 or beat BC 3-0. So, they can beat you. So we've got to play well. And defensively, they're pretty darn good. They're in the top 30, and they're actually in the top 10 in red zone efficiency and getting off the field on third down. So we got to play well on the offensive side of the ball, and we got to eliminate the big plays defensively because we're going to get some trick plays. There's no question about that.
Coach, thank you. Great show again tonight.
Thanks, Jack.
And folks, thank you. Saturday, 3:42 kick, Notre Dame and Wake Forest. We'll be back again, our final show here next week. Until then, good night, everybody, and go Irish.